what I was saying in terms of my memory, which is, like I said, kind of shaky in some ways. It's shaky in terms of like, oh, can you remember Rifleman? Yeah, I can remember Rifleman right now. Am I going to remember it later on when I'm trying to move up the unit? And I go, I'm moving up the infantry. Wait, they're not called infantry. They're called something else. I don't remember what they're called. Why? Because I get brain farts like that. I don't know why. But get back to my part of my story. I'm walking through, and like I said, I'm just sort of noticing where people are, you know, but not really like thinking too heavily on it. Like, and then one of my coworkers, like, where's so and so? And I'm like, oh, he's in motor department. You want to go look there? And I like literally point in the exact direction where that person was standing, but 30 seconds prior. But like, did I memorize that? No. Did I remember it? Yes. Why? I don't know. I have a weird, my memory's weird like that. Don't ask me to remember important shit. Ask me to remember stupid shit and I'll remember it forever. But it's important to you, Chris. Yeah, I know. That doesn't mean that it is any more, it is anywhere, it is at all valid. You know? It's just a weird way of working. I know. Tell me about it. Burn the rubbers. I mean, don't do that. That's kind of rude. Whether you're talking about a vehicle or otherwise.
That's where we need to be.
Let's go, Artemisia. I mean, Artemisian.
Two people shot in a row.
Fuels run out. I just don't have the power.
Battlefield uplink initiated.
I wouldn't say we have this in hand. We're making pretty good progress, though, towards the, towards the goal, which is to defeat all the enemies or capture the base, which I can be pretty sure is right around here, in the middle of this. I don't know how you want to call this. We sort of want to. I don't even know how you want to refer to that. Sort of like an O, but it's got like a little like V in it, or like, kind of like an M, but the M is connected at the bottom of capital M, but the bottom of the M is connected in like to make it sort of like a square with a. Anywho, I'm pretty sure it's hidden somewhere in the fog of war. Is what I'm trying to say. $0.
May the road rise up to meet you.
Don't ever trust fucking web app ever. It's such a fucking pile of horse shit. Like, so I got a little buzz on my phone here just now, and the phone's like, "Hey Chris, you should log into Temu, and you could win money." And I did, and I logged in, and I spun the wheel, and it's like, "Oh, we're gonna give you a free $1,000 on everything you could possibly imagine." And I'm like, bullshit. You're gonna give me 1,000 of anything. Like, congratulations, you got a double jackpot. I'm like, horse shit. There was a grand opening of a convenience store. It's a local, roughly local convenience store to Western Pennsylvania. And when they had their grand opening, they had a wheel. You would spin the wheel, and depending on what you got, you would either you either get something for free, or you would save, 10% off your first purchase. It wasn't anything important because, again, it's a convenience store. What are you going to do? Rack up $100 of snacks in a convenience store to save $10 when all of your convenience store snacks are already overpriced? Yeah, you're not saving yourself any money with 10%. Are you saving yourself money? Yes, but you would save yourself better money by going to a grocery store and buying bigger, better versions of the same products.
Doing me best.
Like chips and candy bars and that sort of stuff, sodas. Anywho, so on this wheel they had because I'm located in Western Pennsylvania, they had a very small sliver of this wheel. You could win Penguin tickets. Okay, now mind you, the lady got the wheel that they're spinning, appears to be holding onto the back of the prize wheel in order to keep it stable so it won't fall over or wiggle back and forth as they're spinning it. But if you happen to be, any person with eyeballs that happen to spin the wheel once and then, walk around the back to get some snacks or whatever behind the prize wheel, and you see that there's a little brake mechanism that the person has their hand on, so they basically make it so that even though there's a possibility of giving away the Penguin tickets, it's near impossible for you to legitimately win the Penguin tickets. Because, let's say there's a 5% chance on the wheel of winning Penguin tickets, and you have 100 people that stop in your store, 5 people are going to win Penguin tickets. Possibly more than that. I'm just saying based on an average. But you probably don't have 5 tickets to a Penguin game to get your little break in the back to make sure that you do not give away, say, more than 1 or 2 Penguin tickets. It's very easy to do when such a small slice is Penguin tickets. You just wait for it to get, go right past the Penguin tickets, and then you squeeze the brake, and you get whatever follows that, which, like I said, is usually about either a free soda beverage, which is like $1, $2, or 10% off, which, like I said, is sort of nothing. I've become very cynical regarding prizes and things that you see on the internet, particularly because, well, it sounds very, very like, okay, Chris, like you can't trust anybody. Everybody's out to kill you or rip you off or whatever. It sounds a lot like that, but particularly with the internet being sort of a Wild West. It has rules and regulations now, but it's still very Wild Westy. Basically, you have to assume that everybody on the internet is trying to either deceive you or rip you off. Or sell you something. I mean, you don't have to be, you can go on a site like Amazon or eBay or whatever, and you don't have to get ripped off. But at the end of the day, they're selling you something. They're trying to get you to buy into, to buy a TV or a cell phone, or to buy someone's used item, whether that item is worthwhile to you or not, whether it's a computer or a video game. It's very much, and all of that stuff is always, particularly when you're talking about eBay, it's buyer beware. Know what you're buying
110%.
and know exactly what the value of that item is. So, like for instance, if you decide to go buy a laptop, make sure the laptop is up to date. Make sure the laptop has the specs you want to run the programs you want. So if you don't mind buying, you can go out and buy yourself a pretty good, very cheap laptop, but there's a good chance it'll only run up to Windows 10, which for you might be a great thing. I don't want to run Windows 11. That's fine, but just be aware that as time goes on, Windows 10 is going away. They're not going to be updating it anymore. Eventually, they're not going to support the security features of it anymore. And if you're fine with that, then that's great. But again, it's going to be limited based on that. So if programs, whether they're computer programs or video games or whatever you use it for, update, and they start requiring Windows 11 or a certain amount of RAM or a certain CPU, you're going to be SOL. And, depending on what you want to use it for, if you just want to use it as a word processor, I mean, you could, technically speaking, if you clean off the computer and you don't load anything really big, you could be running some nice Windows 95. I mean, mind you, your Windows 95 computer probably won't be compatible with any current printer and would probably be lacking. I'm trying to think if Windows, like PC that ran Windows 95 back in the day, if it would have a USB port or not. I'm going to say it probably won't, but it could. But again, what are you using it for? Do you want to upgrade it in the future? You need to make those decisions. So you need to be aware of what you're buying, because at the end of the day, you can buy a brand new kind of cheap chintzy laptop, brand new that is, for $300, or you can buy something that's used, it's maybe better quality, but it's older and can't be upgraded anymore. So you need to kind of educate yourself in that regard, and be aware that anything in the collector's market can be a reproduction, particularly if you collect video games, depending on what you are looking to buy. One of the things that soured me on video game collecting was very much the repo games, or the repo things, because it was actually a combination of things that really soured me on video game collecting. One of them was, you used to be able to bid on lots, and the lots would have, they would tell you what's in the lot usually, and the lot would have 40 games or 20 games or whatever, and in all likelihood, sort of like opening up a pack of baseball cards, you're going to get a lot of, or I shouldn't say baseball cards, we'll say magic cards. You're going to get a lot of commons, you're going to get some uncommons, and depending on what the lot is, you probably are going to get 1 or 0 rares. Now, Magic, obviously, they guarantee that you get at least 1 rare card, but most of the cards in a booster pack are going to be either common or uncommon. It's just the way that booster packs are made. Not the point of what I'm trying to say, but at some point that stopped and lots started to become, well, I've got these 40 games and they're all individually priced, and you can choose to buy any the games I currently have in stock in this lot, and I have them individually priced, so, and you can't bid on them, so you can't over, in a way you can't get a good deal. In a way you can't get a good deal. You can't accidentally snipe a lot of 40 SNES or NES games or N64 games or whatever. I'm talking older video games. I don't know about newer video games. You probably could still find lots of PlayStation 2 maybe. I don't know. And you use your commons as trade bait, for people who are also collecting, that are, your uncommons as trade bait to help them complete their collection. And then, whatever you have left over, you sell for pennies on the dollar. It is what it is. Now everything's run practically off of price charting. So there's no real good deals out there anymore. Like, sort of the thing about a lot is it can help you build your collection really fast, which was great. When you're first starting out building a collection, you can get 15 or 20 games, even if only one or two of them are interesting to you, because they're very common. Like a Super Mario World would be a great example. Every console was packed in with pretty much a Super Mario World when that console first came out. So you want to pick up a Super Mario World, you should be able to pick it up for cheap. Are you going to likely end up with like a Madden or like a Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy, something that people don't necessarily want, that they made a ton of? Yes. Is there a likelihood that you're going to end up with something that's ultra rare? No. Because if it's ultra rare, then that lot is going to be worth a lot of money, and then the shipping starts getting complicated with that, because you have to insure more expensive games. But between that and the fact that the reproduction games started to pop out a lot more frequently, it went from like, okay, I'm legitimately trying to collect, I'm legitimately trying to buy the authentic thing, to it's your guess. Take a look at it online. Here's a picture. Maybe they show you the ROM board, maybe they don't. It's up to you. Can you tell that if it's fake or not based on this picture? Take a risk. We're not going to tell you if it's real or not. Or maybe we will, but you'll still pay $40 for it, because it's a rare game, even though when it becomes when you start talking reproduction wise, it's just worthless. It has no resale value. It only has player value to it. In which case, go online. Go find a pirate site. Go fucking download it at that point. Has no value. Why spend $40 on a game that the person selling it to you doesn't have the rights to? They don't have the original cartridge. So you're not only losing the authenticity of it, you're losing, you're overpaying for something that you could technically get for free. Not legally, but if depending on your thoughts on ROMs. But yeah, there's my gripe. I know, it's very interesting to listen to me complain about something I did five or 6 years ago. But I built up a nice collection in the 2010s, which was kind of, in a way, it was kind of late to the game. If I had started collecting in the 2000s, like 2008, 2009, or earlier, I could have really just snagged up everything for just a ridiculous bargain. But I didn't have money then. And then when I had money, the prices were higher. But if I were to sell the collection now for what it is allegedly. I say allegedly because, again, it's highly dependent on finding a buyer for the games you have. I would make a decent profit. I would make a decent profit of at least, depending on what game I'm talking about, probably at least 20%. At least. I mean, I bought, I'll give you an example. I bought the smack-ass common, you know, NES games like Mario 2, Mario 3, Contra, you know, things that people had a billion of. They were just everywhere. They were so dirt common, it's not even funny. And I bought all those games for under $10. In fact, I got some of them in a lot, which I talked about a few minutes ago. And I just... Did I overspend on the lot? Maybe. But for the number of games I started out, it basically gave me 60 games to get me started. And I paid roughly per... You're talking about per game? I paid about... $7-8 a game. It wasn't like I was like necessarily making out like a bandit. I mean, most of the titles that were in this lot were pretty much dirt common games, but it was a good way to start out the collection and get your Marios. You know, I got Mega Man 2 in there. I got a Contra. I got a Castlevania. I got a lot of, like I said, the dirt common, quote unquote, dirt common games that are, you know, weren't expensive at that point. But overall, did I probably spend more than I should have? Probably. But at the, you know, at least at the time when those games were being sold, that is. But now those games are all over $10. So if I sold the original lot, you know, for what they're going for dollar-wise according to price charting, I would make all of my money and then more back. Man archive documents from the enemy facility about the existence of an advanced military weapon. Our job is to be able to develop a new fighter model. Looking at these specifications, abilities unmatched, truly a machine suited for one of our own aces. Need to hurry our plans and build one for the next fight. I'll have to see what that is in one of the later missions. I'm guessing it's probably a hero unit that I can now recruit via the, you know, the satellite dish looking thing. But sorry to finish my thought real quick. I mean, if I bought, say, you know, Super Mario Brothers, which was a pack-in game, you know, Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt, you know, and I bought that for, say, like I said, about $7-8 a pop. I probably won't be making my money back, even at this point. I'd have to look it up. I'm not going to do that right now. But you know, I know some of the games that most of those games that are in that lot, I would not lose anything. I would probably make at least $1 in cases like Contra. A couple of the other Castlevania, they're probably over $10 now. So I make a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there, and that's on the conservative end without me actually looking at price charting to see what they're really valued at. So, whatever.
We fight as one.
Abandoned Sagutu Fortress. We're getting out of here. Nathan, until we meet again. Oh, Lundberg, wait, please don't hang up. Tell me, where are you? I'm coming after you. Become a formidable fighter, my boy. However, you still lack strength and the precision during the assault. I know that you surely have the talent and skill to do a lot better than this. Why won't you return to Artemisia, where you belong? King Artemisia is the true invader. Was the case in the Greater War? What did they teach you in the academy about the Battle of Zilsar? You were most certainly taught that it was just another fight to protect our country, weren't you? Nothing could be further from the truth. The old king did nothing more than deceive people of Mercenesia for his own nefarious ends. Peace Artemisia enjoyed was simply a false pretense. The fact the king fell not from atop his throne, but was brought down by whilst on his aircraft was certainly just like him to die in such an undignified way. Battle of Zilsar was most certainly not one which was waged to protect peace. It was a mournful war of a failed invasion. The red carpet which the king walked upon while sprouting promises of world peace was steeped red with sacrifice. No one knew anything, and no one cared to. No one learned from the errors of the past, nor did they want to. The Halcylian skies of Artemisia, what a bunch of lies. Bodies of the fallen lay like nothing more than rotted fruit on a red-soaked ground. During the Battle of Zilsar, I couldn't protect my wife and my child, but I have come to think of you as something like a son. My son, a son filled with a strong sense of justice. At times, Nathan, that sense of justice hurt me dearly. You who knew nothing of Artemisia's past, who never questioned it. I never truly knew you, Nathan. It'll be so lenient with you next time. If you wish to continue this conflict, let Kyria be where we end this once and for all. I fight against you, not as your former officer, but as a man who fights to protect the world's peace. Decided my whole being to my goals. I will rid this world of petty people like yourself who threaten the fabric of peace. Farewell to you. Or fare you well. Hold on, Colonel. Let me see everything he said. It can't be true. I got 110 score for that, which apparently is not good. That is bronze level bullshit right there. Alright, let's do this mission as well.